Hi guys, welcome to Joe's RC Corner, and we're going to get caught up on the Cap 232, so stay tuned. All right guys, so welcome back to Joe's RC Corner, and today, like I said, we're going to be doing a quick overview on where we are on the Cap 232. After all, we did have some cleaning to do here in the garage. It was getting a little bit messy and running out of space to continue the work on the aircraft. So right now what we're going to be doing is we're going to really quickly just go over what we've got going on here. We've got a rat's nest of cables hanging out underneath. We got my batteries sitting out here. And you'll notice that the cowl is not on. I do have a pill bottle on here. It's actually just a weight. I could probably take that off now. But we added some more hardwood points here in the up where the fuel tank system is, because we did something special to the cowl. Give me just a second here. So we were having some issues, or I was having some issues getting the cowl on over the exhaust and the twin cylinder. This aircraft was originally designed to have a single cylinder either hanging out the bottom or on the side, so you could easily get the cowl on. Because the cowl was very narrow and it went all the way back here. So what we ended up doing, I decided I wanted to go ahead and modify the cowl to make it fit a little bit better and make it easier to get on and off. So we split the cowl here. So we have a top and bottom half now. So the bottom half very easily slides up underneath and fits into place like so. Okay, and the screw holes, the screw mounting points are still going to be the same on either side here, but we needed to add in mounting points up here so that the top half will also mount to hard points back around the back half here. Okay, and then what we're going to end up doing is making a fiberglass lip, probably on the top side, that's going to come down and overlap along here, and then screws and blind nuts in place to go ahead and screw these together along the sides. And then what we'll have to do is just clean up the edges here so that way they all fit nicely. So that's what we're going to be doing with the cowl. I'm not going to be working on that today because I'm waiting on my fiberglass and the blind nuts and the also the mounting hardware, which should be here this week. So next weekend we'll be able to go ahead and get started on that. So right now we're going to set this all aside because what we want to work on today is I want to finish buttoning up all of the wiring hanging out the bottom as much as I can do for right now. So one of the other things that we worked on here on the Cap 232 after we finished some of the covering is I went ahead and got some decals on here. So here with the other camera, we're going to do a quick view here up close. So as you can see up on the engine, we have everything all set up here. Fuel line crap trap is in place. Everything has been buttoned up nicely. So nothing gets in the way of anything. I got my vent line coming out, and all my cables are going through this plate here. Throttle servo is also hooked up right over here, and the servo is mounted inside underneath here. We have also the fuel tank is in place and mounted nice and secure. We have my loop for the so it doesn't automatically siphon out of the tank. We also added a little bit of some decals, some of them off of the sheet, some of them I made. These are off of the sheets. I made these ones. These ones again off the sheet. And then also got that one under there. Now as you can also see that I also have here the linkage is all hooked up. So this is the pull cable. The tail wheel is now hooked up as well. And the elevators are also hooked up. Now I do have a little bit of slop. It's not here. It's actually back at this end. But I guess I have to switch out the arms. So we're going to move the plane over to the other side of the shop, and we'll go ahead and flip her upside down so we can start working on this rat's nest and get it all cleaned up. So stand by, guys. I'm going to go ahead and switch out the cameras, move it around, and we'll get it started there because we want to try to run the engine today if we can, since the fuel system's all in there. But I got to get all this wired up and mounted inside the airplane for that. So stay tuned, guys, and we'll work on that next. Okay, guys, so as I mentioned, we're working here inside the fuselage box now, the fuselage here. And I want to just go over a little bit of what's in here and how it's all laid out. So we have two elevator servos here and here, left and right. And I do need to swap out the arms because I got some slop in that hole and made it a little too big, so that's my fault. But then I also constructed my own pull servo arm here. And the reason why I did that is you really should have your linkage or your clevises where the pull cbles connect offset from the pivot point of the servo arm. And the reason for that is when you turn this servo, and I'm moving it very gently because it can't damage the servo by moving them like this, you'll see this one, normally this one would get loose and this one would get tight. They now stay the same pressure on both because of that offset. So whenever you set up your pull cables, remember that when you set up your system. So they'll center that back up again. So like I said, we got the two elevator rudder. We have the AR8010T, which I'm going to probably mount somewhere about right here with some double-sided tape, and then I'm going to make some tubes to kind of lay out my antennas where I need them. That way I don't have to run any extensions, but I'm actually wondering if I want to maybe put it back a little bit further just to get it away from the servos, and I think I might end up doing that. So we may end up moving it just a little bit further back, and then back here I do need to add another support for the servos. So basically right back in this area here, we're going to end up putting the another brace for the pulls. So we'll work on that. So first things first though, I think we're going to go ahead and move this. I'm going to unplug my throttle servo here. There we go. Then I can pull all my cables back. And we're going to run the receiver. It's going to be run right about here. And then the satellite receiver, I think I'm going to end up putting it about right here. That'll give me my diversity, and then also one this direction, like so. So we're going to go ahead and get this double-sided tape down. I use this 3M double-sided tape, works pretty darn good. Make sure that's stuck down there good. I'm going to go ahead and grab my extension cables before I do that though. Okay, so I have my 3 extension cables. This one's now going to be for the throttle. And then I have these for the ailerons. So we'll get those plugged in here. Now I'm going to need my radio to know which one it is. Give me a second. Okay, so it looks like we have right aileron is aileron. So this will be right. And aileron should go here. My other one. And left aileron should be aux 1. So now I have those are the plugs for my ailerons. I'm going to use this one for my throttle. Probably only need a short 3-inch one. Let me grab one. Okay, now I got a short 3-inch for my throttle. Plug that into the throttle servo here. And plug that into throttle. Okay. And then we'll Go ahead and stick this down right about here. And that'll hold nice and tight, that won't move. We're gonna need one more for the satellite receiver, which we will put in a position where that is diversity. Okay, so as you saw through that time lapse there, they're really quick. Got everything mounted. I got my receiver, satellite receiver on the right side of the aircraft. We have the main receiver down in the center above the canopy, or below the canopy. We have all the servo leads. I'm going to have to tidy them up a little bit more, but all those are set and ready to go there. Let's see, we got one more here that we do have to connect. We got to connect the kill switch to the transmitter as well, so that we can kill the engine through the optical kill. So that's going to also have to be fed through under here, and it's going to be mounted probably somewhere in this area there, but let's plug in the this goes into the gear switch. Should have already had that one plugged in. This is definitely my fault. I was not paying attention there. There we go. Now it's in. To gear. All right, guys, so we're ready to start the engine. So I got the engine over here, the plane tied down and ready to see if this engine runs. And then next week we'll be working on getting that cowl mounted. So everything is pretty much in place. I haven't balanced it yet. We're going to work on that and try to rearrange some of the batteries from that point. But right now, let's go ahead and run the engine and see how she goes. So as you can see, guys, the engine runs great. I have no issues there. Do have to put a bigger prop on it. That 1810 is a little bit under propped, so it's overspeeding just a little bit at the full throttle, so I can't quite get to full throttle. We'll be playing around with the adjustments a little bit later on. Right now, just wanted to make sure she ran. And as you can see, guys, that 30cc engine from Valley View RC runs beautifully. Can't wait to see it in the air and see how she runs. So we'll go ahead and bring the airplane back in and get it back on the bench and finish up the video. So stay tuned, guys. Okay, guys, so as you could see, we ran the engine. We got everything pretty much buttoned up on this aircraft, minus the few things that we're still waiting on in shipping. So the engine runs really nice. I'm really happy with how the engine runs. It's very smooth. It's not extremely loud, but it is a little bit louder than, let's say, the 35cc or my 100 with the canisters on it. With that being said, everything is ready to go. It looks really nice out in the sun, and the engine runs smooth. All my control surfaces work. I do have to do some final tuning in regards to setting the correct throws, balancing, and then we'll figure out the weight once we have the cowl done. So like I said, next weekend, hopefully do a little bit of video on getting that split cowl back on the aircraft and fitted properly, so that we can then paint and prime and paint it, and then get it all fitted nicely, and then see how well the engine runs with that cowl on. Now, one thing that I did notice when we were running the engine is the engine, I cannot get it past 3/4 throttle with the prop that's on here. They recommend not to run into the 6,000 range on this, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I believe that you should not be running this engine above a specific RPM. Recommended about 68. When I was going full throttle with this prop, it was slightly going above that. That's not good for the engine. I don't want the engine to have any damage from that. So we're going to look at maybe going to the 1910 instead of the 1810 on this. So I'll be putting in that order this week. We'll see when that gets here. But other than that, the main structure of the aircraft and the covering is completed. We just have to finish up getting the cowl done, and the switches, of course, need to get mounted in the airframe as well. But oh, and the wheel pants, I've already sanded them. They're pretty much ready to paint white. So we'll probably get that done after we get them mounted, because I do want to get the hardwood piece in there and get them all mounted prior to paint, so that way they look nice. Yeah, so they'll just fit right on there like so, and they'll look pretty good there. So that's all we have for this weekend, guys. Not a whole lot getting done, but at least we've got the plane to the point where all we have to do is that cowl, and we'll be ready to go. So hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, don't forget to hit the bell, and I'll put links to anything that I'm using if you're interested in it. Go ahead and check out those links. Most of the stuff I get on this aircraft, I've been from Amazon, Horizon, or Valley View RC, which is where the engine came from. Pretty good guys out there, and great engine that they're providing. Without further ado, keep building, keep flying, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.